Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be at home bringing this message of emancipation to you on this rainy day whereby I have to actually make this video indoors. Now, what I really want to speak to you about is how Abdullah the black mystic from Ethiopia would have taught Neville Goddard that everything is connected. So my topic today is everything is connected, and my whole concern why I'm bringing this message to you is because I realize that if a person can actually see that everything is connected, that it would change their life forever, and it would change their attitude towards themselves and towards others and towards the world. You look at the world in a different way and you see things in a different way. And such revelation will allow you to understand what is true love and get you to understand who you are and why you're here and where you come from and where you're going. Now, there are systems that have been put in place to keep us separated. And you know that united we would stand, but divided we would fall. So when we look at, for example, the educational system that have been put in place, and I'm speaking from the standpoint whereby I grew up in the Caribbean, and in the Caribbean most people have a colonial mentality because we've been fed with colonialism, and they put certain things in place for the people to have that kind of mentality. So going through the school system, we were taught to compete, and we were made to believe that those children who do not vibrate as fast as the system would have them to vibrate with the teachings that they want to teach them in terms of just regurgitating things. We're taught to look down on them and see them as being dunce and as stupid. But many people fail to realize that we all was born in this world with a gift, and that we are all connected to each other. And this very important lesson is what Abdullah wanted to convey to Neville Goddard to teach to the rest of humanity. Therefore, when Nevill had a desire to travel to Barbados, where he was born and raised up until the age of 17, and also whereby he has been taught the same way like me to have this colonial mentality and to believe in a power outside of himself, and to also believe in secular Christianity, Abdullah taught him how imagination creates reality, and that consciousness is actually the only reality there is. Therefore, he taught him how he can create his reality by having the understanding that everyone is himself being pushed out. Therefore, when you do an imaginal act, there are people who must and would act on your behalf. That's the reason why you have to walk by faith. For it is said that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Teaching you that you have to put trust in the unseen. And when you act based on what you believe, even though you cannot see it, it would manifest. But a series of events would take place before it can be manifested. And there are a number of persons who would be involved in making this thing a reality. And the reason for that is because we are all connected. For example, Nevill spoke about his brothers leaving Barbados and coming to America, and they wanted to see a play by the name of Aida, and all the tickets were already sold out, and it was all in the newspapers and on the radio that there were no tickets left for this very popular play, Aida. But Nevill uses imagination to see his brothers having their desire being fulfilled, to look at this play called Aida. And so while he was standing in the line to buy his ticket to look at another show, not knowing how his brother's going to get tickets for Aida, there was one who was in the line who was trying to scam the ticket seller by giving him $1 instead of giving him, I think, $20. And he had another person to distract the ticket seller so he can carry out his act. And when the ticket seller looked and realized that he was tricked or scammed, he was trying to reach out to get the guy's attention, and the guy would have already gone a far distance. But he was in a distance whereby Nevill could have shouted to him and say, "Hey, you, come back here." And though he wasn't reluctant to turn back, knowing what he would have done, because of that imaginal act, and because Nevill was so aware of the power within himself, and knowing that the power is in each and every one of us, and all of us are connected, he had to come right back just like a little child. And then when he was confronted of what he would have done, he began to doubt. But Nevill speak on the behalf of the ticket seller and say, "Yes, he did give you $1 bill. I was right here. I see what he did." And because of that, and the others were there also, he had no choice but to pay the man his rightful money, which is the ticket seller. Because hadn't it been that Nevill would have helped the ticket seller to regain the money, the ticket seller would have to pay that money, because you have to be balanced. Okay? And so when Nevill got up close to the ticket seller, he asked for 2 tickets to Aida. And the ticket seller, knowing what Nevill would have done on his behalf, he went in an area where it's written VIP, which means very important people. And Nevill said that at that time he was not even a VIP or a very important person. As a matter of fact, was first time he was seeing the ticket seller, and the first time the ticket seller may have been seeing Nevill. He didn't even know who Nevill was. But he proceeded to go and get the 2 tickets and give them to Nevill, and Nevill paid him. And then Nevill bought a ticket for himself, I believe, for another show. And then Nevill began to explain who are you going to blame or who are you going to condemn. Are you going to condemn the man who was the thief? He played his part so that Nevill could have come to get hold of those 2 tickets to fulfill the desire of his 2 brothers to see Aida, showing you that we are all connected and that we are in no place to judge or to condemn anyone, but we are here to bring value to humanity and to uplift humanity. Therefore, When we learn that we are all connected and that we are one, we have to work together in unison. We have to work together in love, peace, harmony. Then you will understand why it is said in the Bible that whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure, if there be any virtue in it, you must think on these things. And that we must also be transformed by the renewing of our mind and not be conformed to the system of the world. Because the system of the world has been set up to keep us divided. The system of the world have been set up to make us believe that we are living in a dog-eat-dog world and that we must get caught up in the rat race. But I'm here to strengthen what Abdullah would have taught Nevill and what Nevill would have presented to the rest of humanity. I'm saying to you, we are all one. I'm saying to you that God and man are one. And that we are all God in flesh. Everyone is my brother and my sister because everyone is myself being pushed out. So my brother and my sisters, there's only one universal consciousness. Therefore, use your mind power to achieve your every desire. For everything that we will ever desire in this world, it must first be a thought. It must first be an idea. Therefore, grab hold of this power and use this power with the sense of oneness, knowing that we are one. There's only God in the world. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to thank you very much. I want to say, if this message has been a blessing to you and it's really resonating deep with you, within you, and it's the first time that you listen to me and you haven't subscribed already, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share this video. But before I leave you, I just want to remind you that this message I bring to you, that it is the single eye, yes, the single eye message of self-realization, which Matthew 6:22 says that if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. My brothers and my sisters, had they been that my whole body was filled with light when a single eye was open within me? I've come to understand when the Bible says that you shall change from mortal to immortality in a twinkling of an eye, that twinkling of an eye is an opening of an eye where you will awake from the dream of life and found this life to be a dream. And you will tell your brothers and sisters your story. That is why I'm sharing this story with you. I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. That's the reason why, my brothers and my sisters, when I had that experience, it is where I would have had that mighty shaking, and I would have heard the unearthly wind and ascend like a fiery being and burst my crown chakra and became invisible. Became one with the air and realized that I am invisible. And this is just the visible me. And so I come to understand the new birth, the virgin birth, the resurrection. And that's why I always encourage you by saying to you, do not let anyone brainwash or deceive you by making you believe that the eye above the pyramid and the US dollar, that it's an evil symbol. I say no. It's a symbol of the all-seeing eye of God in you. With your imagination, for you will experience an awakened imagination. And you will come to understand why they place that symbol on the US dollar. It is the eye of the seers, the mystics, the prophets, those who will go beyond humanity and come into their divinity and discover their prophetic self, knowing that they can prophesy their life into being. In Romans 4:7 they tell you, call those things that be not as though they are. And so, with all of that being said, it's the reason why I always put my hand right here above my crown chakra. And I always saying to you that when you have the experience, that you will come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life, and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And you're told in Psalm 84:11 that the Lord your God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And truly the sun has never withheld any good thing from humanity, for the sun is what pours all of humanity and gives humanity its energy. Also in Malachi chapter 4 verses 2, you're told that the Son of Righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings. And that is why when the sun has risen in me, I'm bringing healing to all of humanity. I'm pointing each and everyone to look inwardly and encouraging you to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your God power, your creative power, which is actually sexual power. Use that power to achieve your every desire and learn that we are all one, for everything is connected, as Abdullah would have taught Neville Goddard. So that being said, I want to say peace, love you all,